Hi, I'm the White Feather, and I decided to tell you about the first time I was able to understand what a soul attachment was, and I was able to perceive it and see it with my own eyes. I was actually dating someone at the time who had multiple personalities. He had originally told me that he was bipolar. That didn't bother me. I was always into healing and helping people. And he was a really cool kind of guy. And he had quite an amazing experience already, because he had already, since the age of 8, was able to tap into spirit. His mother's twin sister used to do readings for people, and he used to stand beside her, and he used to tell his aunt and the person in front of her everything about the person and the people around her, and also give messages himself. And he was only 8, and he did not even know what he was doing at that time. One day he had made a Star of David in the basement of his home, his parents' home, and he was actually levitating in the middle of it. His mother saw him, and she immediately called the Ottawa psychiatric facility. So they proceeded to take him there. And there, for the next 10 years, until he was 18 and was able to leave on his own, they gave him electric shock every single day. Every day. Imagine that is their intelligence about how to, in their reasoning, cure people with schizophrenia, people who heard voices. They hurt him every single day. They put him in straitjackets and they electrocuted him. So this is how the lost souls that didn't go into the light saw this child being hurt, and they decided to join his soul to help him, so he would not have to feel the pain that he was feeling from that shock. But one soul attachment led to another soul attachment, and so then he ended up having several. He really didn't know what was going on. By the time I met him, he was 36. So for all of those years, those souls, depending on the day, the month, the hour, would take over his human body for a day and a few hours, sometimes months. One personality liked to drink a lot and do drugs, steal cars, and have a lot of fun. Others were kind and sweet and were doing healing. Others were just there to experience being human again for those hours, those days, or whatever time it may have been. So, interesting enough, the first day that he slept over, when we were sleeping, I heard a voice say to me, "I'm going to get in your head just like everyone else." I said, I said, "You know what? I'm not afraid. I love Ron, and I love you. I'm not afraid. And then I proceeded to ask, who are you? And why are you here? Ron did not tell me what happened at the psychiatric ward in Ottawa. Red did, and that's what he called himself, Red. I said, why are you here? Why are you using Ron? And that's when I've learned for the first time that lost souls can take over souls of the living. Now, it could be in a creepy, scary way, but in this particular case, he had always felt, he's the one who told me about what happened with Ron being electrocuted and in pain every day, because he came into him to try to help him with his pain. And literally, one day during the session, was so strong, it broke Ron out of the straitjacket and literally broke the nose and the arm. One doctor the nose, one doctor the arm, of the ones who were actually doing the process. So that's how I found out about Red. And then as the days went on, well, actually, I asked Ron about it, and he wasn't really sure what was going on, because he said he is not in charge when they're in charge. And he doesn't know why sometimes it can only be for days or weeks. And so we continued to try to work together to figure this all out. Over his lifetime, he had been suicidal because he was so tired of hearing the voices, of things being so strange, and he never knew what to do. Obviously, he couldn't tell the doctor, because the doctors would put him on drugs again, or possibly throw him back in the institutions. So therefore, he didn't tell anyone. And he kept hiding, and he kept, even his friends didn't know, because he would try to act the same. He said sometimes when he knew that he had lost time, whether it was days or so, when he came back and he was around his friends, he would like sneak around and like ask kind of what went on during that time. Oh, that was fun, wasn't it? And then, his friends would, yeah, we did this, we did that. So then he would have an idea. So sometimes when another personality would come in after being with him for weeks and months, sometimes I would notice that if he was rubbing his arm, then I knew that one of the other personalities were going to show up. And I had noticed that a lot of the attachments that would show up periodically were coming in to feel love and to feel loved. And that's how I was able to help them go into the light, because they were ready for it. We were trying to figure all of these things out together. Ron, of course, was very intuitive and connected to different spirit realms, because he was telling me a lot of different things that he knew about everything that he could tell me that had anything to do with other realms and spirituality and anything that he had known. One time he was in British Columbia for a year. And one day, he was himself. He was on a bench. And he's like, where am I? So people were coming up to him, hey, Ron, da, da, da. And then, again, he did what he usually does. And, oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And then he realized that he was living with a young lady who had a couple of kids. And he had been playing the dad role. He went back to the house and he saw them, but he didn't recognize them. He didn't feel the love for her. He didn't feel the love for the children because it wasn't him connecting with them. He eventually not told her what he felt had happened. Of course, he was always running away from that. So he ended up getting a bus ticket and going back to Ottawa because that's where he was from. He never told anyone what he had told me. And the reason why he told me was because I could hear Red talk to me. And over the 10 months that I was with him, Red would always try to come in so that he could go out there and get some drugs and drink. And But being with me, Ron had more of a normal life. Going to work every day, maybe going out on the weekends and things like that. But nothing like Red would want him to do. So one day, Red definitely took over his body and started, that's it. I'm packing up all my things. I'm leaving, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm not letting you go anywhere unless Ron wants to do it. If he wants to, no problem. And he was really mad at me. And he's saying, I hate you. I hate you. I said, Red, I don't care. I love you. I love you unconditionally, like I love Ron. And Ron's not going anywhere unless he wants to. And the more I would say to Red, I love you, the more he would be angry. And at the time I was in my bedroom, he picked up a nail file that was on my bureau, and he picked it up and he's like, I hate you. And then that was when Ron saw for the first time that a different soul had taken over his soul, because Ron could see auras. He had since he was born. So he could know exactly who you were. Exactly. You could say, no, I'm not like that. No, I'm not like that. But he knew exactly who you are. He knew your personality perfectly. And so when he saw his self, his body, with an aura that he knew was not his, that's when he knew what was happening. The other soul was completely taking over his body. I'm telling you this because I know that there are people out there that this is happening to. It may not be as severe as Ron because he had several coming in and out, because he was a very spiritual person, which he didn't consider himself to be spiritual because he never knew what that meant, because it was just a part of who he was since he was born. When you're open to spirit, sometimes when you're feeling depressed or you're not well, or a lot of different reasons could be why a soul sees you vulnerable enough in order to use your human body as a vessel for them to, whether it's as silly things as eating ice cream or getting you to do different things that you wouldn't ordinarily do yourself, but it's the only way for that soul to feel that part of when they were alive. Alcoholics, drug addicts, these are depression, suicidal, schizophrenic, bipolar, any of these things. I don't know 100% unless I see the person. What is that person's issue, I guess you could say? Or if it's related to something that other souls are attaching to you that are creating, or if it is something that's your own. Either way, when I do soul attachment clearing, we can know. The point is, Ron saw that this other soul had taken over his human body and was telling me that it hated me and he loved me. So he immediately realized for the first time that he had a choice and he could come back into his own body. And when he did, it was like, oh my God, are you okay? Are you okay? Did he hurt you? Did he hurt you? And he was so concerned. I had been learning about entities that attach and different things from a gentleman called David Stanger. He lived in Magog. My friend Gina and I went there to learn about this, and he said that we were basically some of the very few that he had taught what he knew, because he had to know that it was something that a gift that he was allowed to transfer. I was able to help Ron at that time with what I knew from him. But then I learned later on that what I do now, the soul attachment clearings, and how I know about the different ways that it's affecting you and how I can help you, is because of the Creator letting me know this is what you're supposed to be doing for humanity, and to help souls to be able to be themselves and to be able to be free from the trauma that the lost souls are creating. A double win here is when I get to clear the attachment from you, and I also get to bring the lost soul home where they belong. Double win. Everything is always done with unconditional love for you and for the souls that have been attached to you. It's not for me to judge. It's only for me to help them go home and to help you feel better and be better and be the best that you can be in this lifetime. I know that this message will not resonate with everyone, that's for sure. A lot of people are going to say, I have no clue what you were talking about. Yeah, some people might say you're a nutball, but I don't care. It's about the ones who need me, seeing me, looking into my eyes, and knowing that I can help them. And that is the most important thing for me. I have seen such beautiful transformations instantly. Anyway, this was about the first, and I'll definitely tell you more stories and more experiences that I've had. Other attachments that Ron had definitely got to go into the light, but at that time, I did not know what I know today, so I could have been able to help Red also. But now, "17 years later, I know lots more, and I can help a lot more people. Are you one of those? Send me a message. I'm here, and I'd love to help you get you back in ways that you may not even known, because sometimes the soul attachments can be with you, or the other souls that's with you can have been with you since the day you were born. Anyway, love, White Feather. Love, light, peace, and harmony. And wishing you health, wealth, and abundance.